Anze Jereb. I'm Executive Creative Director in BBDO Ukraine and Central Asia. I live here for 20 years. I enjoy it, like it, and I hope I will spend 20 more years here. I came to a big international advertising agency. I stayed almost a year. Then I didn't want to change the country because I fell in love with a girl that is now my wife. So I opened up my own agency with a local partner, and we did business together for 12, 13 years. We had creative agency, media agency, web agency, PR agency, digital agency, BTL agency. It was like a big company with different companies together, like a small holding. The revolution of dignity started 2013-14. I was out of my project because I sold it, and I was looking for a new job, and I met Viktor Ishkov. He said, "Do you want to go for a coffee?" And I said, "Okay, let's go for a coffee." And he offered me a job, and after I spoke with him, I decided to go into this project, and now I'm here in BBDO for 7 years. 3 years ago or 4 years, Viktor and I got also Central Asia, and now we are a little hub for Ukraine, Central Asia, Caucasus area, and we do everything, actually almost everything in Kyiv and in Almaty. Each culture where I worked, Ukraine is like the 7th country where I worked. Before that I worked in Hungary, in Italy, Slovenia, Serbia, Croatia. Each nation has its own cultural peculiarities which are interesting, funny, sometimes difficult, but that's the joy of life. The difference between nations when you travel to different country, to feel and see that people live pretty much the same, but there's like some stuff different. For example, how we spice up fish in Slovenia and how people spice up fish here, for example. It's pretty much the same fish, but different spices. So that's very interesting to observe, to taste, to try, to see new stuff. I think that makes our life richer. What I really like lately, and it's the boom of the restaurants. I like good food. I love when chefs are trying to make my 1 hour in a restaurant like gourmet explosion of tastes and feelings. This is what changed a lot, and it changed where and how I spend my free time. Because when I came, there were not a lot of good restaurants. I mean, food was okay, but it was just okay. Now it's superb. I like a lot of places in Kiev, Podol, Sagaidachnova Street to Kontraktova Ploščad, it's beautiful. In summer I like to go from Podol walking to Libitska metro station. There's like these beautiful buildings that are different from whatever you see in Europe, for example. The architecture of Kiev is like unique. It has this European Oriental style. So it's beautiful, and especially from the 1st of May till 1st of June, this is the best time in Kiev. Romantic perception will stay forever because it's easier to live when you remember the great history of Ukraine, the great things that were happening here, the historic moments, that Kiev was one of the biggest cities 1,000 years ago in the world, for example. Kyiv is extremely beautiful. It has these old parts where you can feel the history for thousands of years. And still, it's a very beautiful country. There are a lot of places that are not discovered yet. There are castles, rivers, lakes, mountains. So it's easier to live here with all the problems that we have with the everyday living in Kiev when you are still romantic about the country. Well, what I'm surprised that if we take a look at how people work, I heard that Ukrainians are not like hardworking. No, it's not true. Ukrainians are very hardworking. That's a myth. I've worked in many countries. People in Ukraine really work hard. Another problem is that there is lack of quality control, how to say, in all aspects of our life. But what I said with these restaurants, where the owner of the chef takes control of the quality, this changes the whole society. That's what we do in our agency. That's what a lot of Ukrainians are doing now. We are changing the society in terms of doing better job. I see one thing, that when a Ukrainian young person achieves some level or result, they become happy with it. They don't need to grow anymore. Maybe because there's not a lot of competition among young people. But from the other side, that's a big problem that we have because we are not growing as fast as we could. People stop on their way of growth and they're happy with themselves, but we should try harder. We should change, adapt, grow all the time. I'm following not just Ukrainian market, in terms of creative achievements, results on international big advertising festivals. We are at the end and we are not going further. While there was Albania, there's Pakistan, they get bigger awards on these huge international festivals than Ukraine. Why? Because we are satisfied with the way of life we have, obviously. That's one particularity that I don't really like, but I hope it will change with time. There is one funny thing that I cannot change with me, and I will not change it. I'm from Slovenia, which was part of Austro-Hungarian and German empires for a long time. I'm very pünktlich. If a meeting starts at 10 o'clock, I will be there 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. And that's what I'm spreading to all my colleagues, because usually everybody tends to be at least 15 minutes late. But in personal life, I would like to forget this my punctuality, because I'm always too early when I'm invited to somebody's home. But in terms of work, I think that punctuality is very important, because the tempo, the rhythm of work is getting faster and faster and faster, and if you are not disciplined, you can lose a lot of time. Of course, a lot of stuff that I do is similar to everything else on the market, because that's what people want to get. But as a creative, I always try, and my colleagues as well, we always try to do something different, to be interesting. That's the point of marketing communications, to be noticed, not to be spam, like shooting person with a message so long that he cannot get it out of the brain. No, I want to do different communication, a piece of communication, a content, a commercial ad, that when you see it, you feel emotions about it, and it remains a bit longer with you. That's my job. For example, one of the projects we did, there was a producer of mineral water from Karpaty, Karpatska Dżerelna. They were like regional water for the Lvov Oblast, Lvov area, and they had big plans and ambitions. And we made a commercial for them that made them come from the 12th or such position to the 3rd position on the national market. We showed a grandfather that looked very nice drinking this water from Carpathians. This is one of the projects that I'm proud of. You know why? It was the production plant was hiring around 200 people. I don't know the right numbers, but they said after the extremely good commercial, in one season the company became much bigger and they hired much more people from the Lvov area, where we know that there is a lot of unemployment. So we helped also a lot of people getting the job with good advertising. I watch at people, I look how they live, I listen what they talk. That's the fun part of my job. Besides being a creative, it's understanding how people talk, what they think, what they like, what they don't like, how they're changing. I was listening to young skateboarders close to my home, and I heard them speaking. You see these guys that are delivering food. I was a delivery guy when I was a student, and it was very negative. But I heard these youngsters speaking about delivery guys as something really cool. Like, wow, I also want to try this when I will be old enough. I want to earn my own money. It shocked me a little bit. And I have this friend, young director. We went to different points where these people are hanging on together. And we found out that there are stars, there are legends among them. And we wrote a certain script and started interviewing them, following them. And after it, we made a small movie. Because it's something new that happened in society, and I said to myself, let's make a small picture of it.
Ты приходишь, платишь деньги, тебе делают заказ, ты его забираешь, фотографируешь этот же чек, уезжаешь.
So I would not say that I'm like this foreign person that's bringing some new stuff from abroad. No, it's everything here. You just have to know how to use it. We had a very nice office on Podol, but it was really too small. It was too loud, people could not concentrate, there was not enough room for, sitting down, thinking. So we needed a new office, and our managing director and finance director were looking for a lot of options in Kyiv. And they found this thing, remodeled it, redesigned it completely. We moved in, and after 3 or 4 months, the quarantine started. But now we are back in office. Well, it was a funny thing. We had a great idea, and while we were discussing it, we met a girl from Bolt, which sits a floor lower. And we kind of spoke with them, and they liked the idea, and we did it, and the idea won a lot of awards. We recorded a special chanson song, and it was playing in a Bolt taxi car until you fasten your seatbelt. The chanson music was very loudly screaming. As soon as you plugged your seatbelt, the music stopped. So this is a very nice project that is still winning awards worldwide. There's a lot of companies that are cool, a lot of Ukrainian companies. I know a lot of guys that do projects here that are sold to the whole world. There's Ajax Security Systems. Here on UNIT.City is a guy that does robots for the Canadian, Israeli, I don't know which armies. PetCube, you know, the camera to follow your pets at home. There's MacPo doing the software for Mac. I saw this company that's doing ultralight planes, and it has like 10% of the whole worldwide market. There are guys that are doing buses for the off-road, for example. A lot of interesting stuff is going on. And besides, Ukraine is one of the biggest steel exporters in the world, third place or second place. Aluminium, steel, and stuff like that. I think that potential is in the added value. Heavy industries have small added value. IT companies have huge added value. So I believe that it's better not to destroy the environment, to do the high margin businesses. Ukraine has a great potential in tourism. I've seen so many beautiful places in Ukraine that's where I think investments would be needed. Lakes with no tourist infrastructure, completely clean, pristine, not spoiled by the buildings or hotels, but still certain amount of investments would be needed, because I think that Ukrainians now during the quarantine discovered a lot of Ukrainian nice places, same as our family did. I would not say that Ukraine is somewhere at the end of the world. In advertising, unfortunately, yes, we are quite far, but we are fighting to go on. So I believe in young, progressive, motivated Ukrainians that want to do business here, and there's more and more of them. I hope that they pay taxes.